my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do some work on Bears 96 and we're going to try to tidy up the cam chest area and get that ready and make sure that our cams are set in there right. We've already identified our cam as an EV79, so we know what we got in there, but we're going to put the cam chest together. I'm going to take the lifter blocks off, check all the cam spacing, and make sure that all that part of it is correct before we go on to the top. So let's get at it. So I like to check things when I take them apart to see where they were running at, and it also lets me know if I have to pay special attention to those spots when I take it apart. Measuring across here, this is our little small spacer for our breather gear, and they come in different sizes. There's also steel ones for steel gears and plastic ones for plastic gears, so never interchange them. Put a ruler across your gasket surfaces and measure down in there and put a feeler gauge in there and see what you can get for a measurement. Now there, I've just been able to put a 35 and 5/10, so almost 40 thousandths of an inch clearance for this breather gear to move back and forth. I don't know if you can see it like that, but that whole gear will wiggle back and forth like that. The ideal measurement for this is, they say, from 1 thou to 16. I like to have 10 thou in there, and you also have to compensate for your outside gasket. So when you get your measurement here of what the space is, you need to subtract on an average 6 thousandths of an inch, 0.006, off your measurement for the crushing of the gasket to allow that. In this case, with checking where it's at, we're already running a 25, 35 and 5. Is that a 5 or 6? 35 and 5. 40 thousandths of an inch I have with these, and I'm able to slide that right down in there. So there's way too much play on this. So we're going to keep track of this, and when I put my new gasket on, I'll take the measurements and be sure to put a new plastic washer on. That's the right depth. So upon checking this and doing our calculations, we're 0.1190 on the initial spacer, the original spacer that was in here, and that was giving us 40 some thou of clearance, 40 thousandths. So now we've replaced this with a different spacer, and we're going to try and check it, and I should have 16 thousandths of an inch in there, and that I can put 16 thousandths of an inch feeler gauge in between here and that. So that will give me 6 thousandths of an inch crush and 10 thousandths of an inch clearance, which is plenty to be in the safe zone. So when we assemble the motor, that's what we're going to do with this breather gear and put that in like that. So we'll set that aside so that we know we have the right one, and we'll move on. We're going to start by getting some of our parts off that we need to remove from here. And we're going to have to get the oil gauge in. Always make sure that you hold on to both pieces, especially this one here, when you're trying to loosen or tighten this, so that this doesn't get torqued down in there and broke off. I've had to make sleeves in the past for fellas that broke them off, which wasn't any fun. We'll just take this off and set it aside. You can use these ball end Allen keys, but they won't take a lot of torque. So if you've got them stuck into a small hole in the back, you don't want to just crank on them, because I have broke the ball off before inside the Allen key itself, or the Allen bolt itself, and that's no fun to get out of, especially when you're working in a tight spot. We're going to take the lifter blocks off so that we can really have a good look at the lifters. And I need to get a measurement to set my cam end spacing anyway. Judging what I've seen on the breather one there, I'm certainly going to have to. Man, that is in there. Sometimes when things are stuck like that, if you can take a small blade and put it in on the gasket surface, get the right place. Just like that. And you see that will break it loose there. We could have beat and pounded on that all day to get it out. There we go. And we'd be sure to keep the lifters and the rollers all together in the same spots so that there's no question about where they go. So let's see if we can use that little trick. Once you get it started in there, you get it broke loose, and it should come off. Just very, very gently. Very gently. There we go. When you're taking your lifters out and out of the blocks and taking the blocks out, always make sure that the lifters go back in the same position that they came out of, because of the wear, so that they'll wear the same way. Now we've been looking at this one here. These should go up in here just nicely like that, with no resistance. This one we've tried to clean it out a bit, but see, we have to actually shove it because it's sticking there. And upon closer examination, I don't know if you can see it, but there are marks all around here. And we're just going to take a file and kind of straighten that out. But for some reason it's created a burr on the edge of the lifter. This is the exhaust lifter on the bad valve one, so I don't really know what's caused that. I can't see anything else, but we're going to have to dress that up a little bit, just so that this lifter moves nicely in there now without any problems. I don't know if it was sticking before or what, but we'll clean that up. So we've just taken our diamond edged files that we have and going around and touch this up where we could see any kind of mark in there. And I know you really probably can't see, but it's now taken off any of the rough sections. And we can also see a slight wear mark here from the exhaust. But there's no, I can't finger anything, I can't feel anything, so it's just a cosmetic sort of mark. It's not a groove in it or anything like that. But now that we've got that filed out, this lifter should go back in the block without any binding, just like that. So it's good to go. Just a fun job. So while we're here, we're going to take that cam bearing out and replace it. we go. So now we're going to install our cam bearing back in it. That we got the old one out. Engine loop in there. And once again, as always, there's a round side and there's a numbered side. And the number side is the side that you can put pressure on or bead on or however you like to say. Got this little driver. Just drive it into depth there. Just past the oiling hole there. There is a shoulder in the back side. You don't want to drive it through the shoulder. That's it. That's in there. What we're going to do now is put our gasket on that we're going to use, our new gasket here. And we've got the cam set into place with the spacer that was on it. I don't really know where we're going. We're going to put the cover on. Yeah, we'll put a few screws in it. Right, now we can look at inside and see how much our cam is moving here. And this is our end play on our cam. So what we need to do is measure down inside with a set of feeler gauges to get an idea of where we're at. Let's just try something here. We already have the spacer in there, so we'll have to add to that. So I can just get a 20 thou feeler gauge in there. That's about all I can get, but we shouldn't have 20 thousandths of clearance. We should have, well, 0 to 16. I like to see at least 10 in there. So it means we have to pull that spacer out. So we're probably going to have to add 10 thou to the existing spacer that's in there to bring us out to where we are with the gasket. So this little spacer on the end of the cam is what we have to fit a new one 10 thou bigger. So we'll check our stock and see what we got. So now we've tried it with a different spacer there, 75. And we'll see where that puts us. As you can see before, we can pull this. And if I put a 10 thou in there, we can't move it. So we're going to go with that. It's quite an improvement over what it was. Check these with the new gasket. Just get a 14 in there, I believe. So 14 minus 6 is going to leave me 8 thou end play on that, which is a nice tight end play at 8 thou. So that's the one we're going to go with. There we go. Got our marks in place right here. sure to line the marks up there, and the second mark is over here. Got a breather gear. That one. All right. Now we'll put some engine lube on all the cam lobes. Yeah. Be a little bugger with me. There we go. You can see it just barely moving in there. And I don't think you can see this one, but we can also move this gear back and forth. Yeah, I'm gonna play my gear, and this was where it should be. All right, now we're gonna get the lifters in it, I guess. So we're gonna try to get our lifter blocks in now. When you're putting them together, as I said, keep them together. These lifters have a small hole in them, and the holes should always face inboard on both of them. There's our small hole. And we're going to put a little bit of engine lube on them. And we're going to use our little magnetic pieces to help us out here. And help hold the lifters up and keep them from falling out when we're trying to install them. So we need our gaskets. Making sure that we're lined up with our oil holes and on there. There's one. And we've Loctited our screws to get them ready. And we're looking good there. Drop that off. All right, those ones are lined up. Now we're going to do the same thing with the rear. We're also going to pull them and make sure that our small holes are inboard. And they are. There we go. So again, we'll use our little magnetic pieces to help us. Make sure we're in place, and that has to go this way. And those appear to be in place. All right, we're just going to go along and tighten them all up, and then that'll be good. All right. Now we're just going to go along and tighten all those down and get them all in place, and we've got our cover on. All right, that looks like it. We make sure to have a new cam seal installed in here as well while we're putting all the new parts in, so that everything's sealed up the way it should be. So we put some sealer on these to help seal it up for the screws that are going in there, I guess. So seems to be what they want. So if anything seeps by this, those will help stop it. Okay. Long ones to the top. Short ones to the bottom. That's something that we don't want to forget for up here atop your lifter blocks. Is every little lifter block has a little metal ring like that. And that goes in underneath the rubber O-ring. It's a shoulder for the O-rings to sit on when the push rod covers are on them. You go to put the little cover on, it has a small little notch in it like there, and that has to fit in the notch on the camshaft when it's installed. We'll screw in a 5/16 nut. And we'll just put those in there now. We know where they are until we set our timing. That'll just keep her clean till we're ready to move on. That's it. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, ring the bell, do those things. They all help our channel to grow and we appreciate it very much. So stick around for the next in the series on this 96 motor to see it starting to come together.